Welcome back to the battlefield. Today, as our conquest of Northern Europe continues, we will be looking to get our armies back into friendly territory long enough to replenish, and then we will hopefully take the fight to the Iceni and push them back a little bit. We have a couple of turns of reprieve from the Carnutes barbarians, so we don't have to worry about them for a little while. And that is a most welcome turn of events. Alright, this lot can hang out on the defensive. I believe there's still an Iceni army in ambush stance over here. Not going to risk going out there just yet. Looks like our garrison hopefully should be strong enough to at least prevent any rebellion from immediately striking us. But I'll just hope that the rebellion spawns over here as it has in the past. We have a decent amount of money in the treasury, but really not a whole lot coming in each turn, so we're losing money. I don't really care for the improved shipbuilding itself, but the 5% replenishment rate for all armies and fleets would be very, very useful. Let's check around our other technology options and see if something else stands out more. Wealth from trade and commerce doesn't sound wonderful just yet. We will need some improved loyalty and some empire maintenance reduction as we move down the line, so let's start working on some of the Druidic Council technologies. Back up in the north, our chieftains are still deployed. We have enough money that we could start investing a little bit more into our economy, and that might actually be a very good idea. Now, do any of these buildings support increased growth? I suspect none of them actually directly impact growth, but it's always worth taking a look. Okay, so none of them have a direct impact on growth. It might not be a bad idea to get a slave trader so that we can go around looting more settlements without and gain more as a result. It also would be a really good idea to get the Lore Master's hut, but of course we have to get the sacrificial rites first, and that's going to be a little bit. So we'll just hold off on that construction for the time being. Down here in the province of Gallia, probably should be pronounced like Gallia because it's like Gaul, you know. Down here, I'm a little bit hesitant to improve this town just yet because it's expensive and will take even more food, and we are starting to run out of supplies in this settlement. So we'll hold off on that. Alright, well, none of those options stood out as being particularly good, so we'll just hold off on all of that economic spending for the time being. Loyalty looks great. You know what, if loyalty looks great, maybe I should go for the Lore Master's hut first, so we can start improving our research rate. Alright, and let's end the turn. Alright, so the rebellion has spawned in Namnatum. I really, really hope they don't have the strength to take the city. That would be devastating. It should only be 4 units, but it's going to be 4 units at like veterancy level 4 or 5 or whatever the rebellion spawn with. So they will have high morale. And sometimes when you're fighting with a town garrison, morale is pretty much the only important factor in the fight. So Hopefully, we'll see by the end of this end turn phase, obviously, but hopefully they don't have the strength to attack us. Alright, well, good news, they have not attacked us. Now, losing a bunch of influence would be really bad, but at the expense of more than half of our treasury, we're just gonna have to deal with it.
Ready for orders.
Alright, now, let's see.
Ready for battle.
These guys don't even have the movement range to get to the rebellion, so we'll just send them straight back up to Iliabona, and we will send the Woad warriors to chase down this rebellion. There's no sense fighting that manually, so we'll just auto-resolve it and hope the general doesn't die. Ransom the captives as always for a little bit of extra cash, and now that they're not raiding, we are actually back in the positive. Alright, we should be safe over here, so let's go ahead and patrol to help out with the income and the public order a little bit. Now, I don't know if that is a third army from the Iceni, or if that is the one that was in ambush stance and they came out of ambush stance. I think they just left ambush stance. Where'd my spy go? Oh, they're still down here. I think they came out of ambush stance, so it might be alright to go and attack them. What kind of movement range do they have? They shouldn't have much movement range, but I'm not 100% convinced that we won't just lose the city if we sally out right now, so we'll just play it a little bit safe, make sure we maintain our foothold, and get some reinforcements in the mix. Back in our home province, we are losing public order fairly rapidly, and we need to do something about that soon. Well, for now, it looks like the best thing we can do for public order is probably just use a politician. Send them on down. It's also possible that I could bring this chieftain down to help out with public order for a little bit. We will lose some income and some public order, I think, up here. Now we'll just leave it like that. We'll use a delegation from the Vakamagi chieftains to organize games in the province of Britannia. I don't know if it's a delegation if you're sending them to your own people, but whatever. Alright, that's probably all we can do for this turn. Let's take another quick glance at diplomacy. We need to work on our diplomacy with the Irish, and now that we're making a little bit of money, let's see if we can offer them a payment to gain any sort. See, I don't think that's going to go through. Yeah, I didn't think so. I don't think they want to join our wars either, but we can always try and pay them.
Ripe women to ease other parts.
Nah, they're not going to join a war. They're cowards. Alright, well, as long as they're cowards and they stay on their island, that'll be okay. The main thing is we can't have them charging out and attacking us anytime soon. So my plan for now is try and make some friends to our south, and then move the armies to the north and east, and start conquering in this direction. We'll see how well that actually plays out, depending on the diplomacy of the area. But I don't really have intentions of going straight south through Gaul into Iberia right now. Got a lot of agents milling about, but not really accomplishing much. There's nothing too surprising there. Agents in DEI, in my experience, aren't particularly useful.
What would you have of me?
At least not for doing agent actions. Alright, so we've managed to quash the rebellion for now, but of course there will be another one shortly. We can't reasonably afford to stop taxing this province just yet.
Get moving!
I think we'll save the money instead of getting one extra public order per turn and a little bit of sanitation. I think we will just save the money for the time being. Two turns away from completing our research and building a lore master's hut. Now we can expect more rebellions in the near future, but for the time being, let's just get our armies moving the right direction and start launching an offensive against the Iceni. Should be as simple as pressing the end turn button right about now. None of our family have come of age yet. The Epidii chieftains have decided to be disloyal this turn, but it's not dangerous yet. That being said, we can give Anasonia a chance to grow in power and authority by sending her to raise the public order in the province of Gallia. That'll also help us prevent the rebellions while the garrison at Namnetum rebuilds and gets to the point where it can defend itself, and we don't have to keep an army stationed there. Now there is, of course, the threat that the Carnutus faction will declare war on us soon. I'm hoping to at least get rid of 2 of these Iceni armies before that happens. I'm impressed that they can field 3 full-stack armies out of 1 settlement, but that's the AI for you. None of these really matter right now. We're not recruiting any cavalry at the moment.
Thirsty for battle!
Now what really matters
Warriors all!
is that our warriors are in position to make an attack against the fortified position of the Will of Andraste. So what we're going to try and do
Can I help?
is push them into the ocean. Ooh,
Our path is blocked.
okay, we are going to have ourselves a proper battle here.
I live to serve the people of Britain.
I'm glad they didn't ambush us. That would have been devastating. We definitely would have lost this army if they had successfully ambushed us.
Hail to the mother. How can I help?
I'm confused why they didn't ambush us now that I think about it. Because we didn't detect them until we got into their zone of control, so their ambush was successful. They just decided not to go with
To
it.
work then. The mother protects
Alright, this army is basically a bunch of levy spearmen, not particularly dangerous. This army, on the other hand,
heading out.
is mostly a bunch of levy spearmen. There are some decent troops in there, though. Now over here, we actually have quite dangerous enemies to go up against because they have a lot of this medium shock cav. And we have a distinct lack of spears in our first army.
Thirsty for battle.
Let's bring... I was gonna say let's bring all 3 armies into the mix,
Ready for battle. Thirsty for battle.
But I think I want to keep this one healthy so it can maybe, once we take a bunch of damage with these armies, they can fall back and replenish, and then we'll still have a full healthy stack that can maybe move forward and continue the offensive.
Thirsty for battle.
For the time being, let's go ahead and launch the attack. We'll attack this army first because they have lighter troops, and this will hopefully prevent these two Britannic noble swordsmen from getting to the fight very quickly.
Ready for battle. To battle.
The balance of power is in our favor, but they have lots and lots of cavalry, and we do not have a lot of cavalry. We have 3, 4... We have 6 units, but a lot of our units of cavalry are very light, so we'll have to use our spears effectively to win the cavalry engagement, and hope that our axemen can hold in the center. We can expect heavy casualties in this engagement, particularly fighting in the forest. It will be difficult terrain. But our core infantry have better arms and armor, and they are more highly trained professional soldiers, so we should be able to win the central infantry fight fairly decisively. The first thing I want to do is unite my troops, because we don't want them to make use of their cavalry advantage. We'll leave the heavy mercenary swordsmen on either flank to anchor those flanks. We'll keep 2 units of spears. We'll just have both of these spears over here. The reinforcing spears can take up the right flank. Now, really, I probably shouldn't go with quite such a wide line. As a matter of fact, I'm actually going to decrease the size of my front line fairly substantially, just so that we have more reserves available to pivot and take on whatever the enemy cavalry throws at us. I'm not expecting them to charge at us immediately, so I'm not overly concerned about protecting my right flank right off the bat. We'll just let our reinforcements take care of that.
I stand before you, ready as always to do battle and die if I have to serve our people.
Enemy reinforcements approaching.
I promise they shall not prevail until I lie dead on the field.
Bastards! Cut out your hearts and eat them!
Ooh. I could have planned for this and caught most of their cavalry force as they entered the battlefield, but I wasn't paying very much attention. Alright, well, as it stands, we will simply allow our reinforcements to take the field. Send these units of axes to the reserves. Cavalry to the flank.
Warriors ready! Get running!
It looks like they want to regroup as well, which is fine with me. It just buys me time. Alright, now we could try to set up a little bit of an ambush. We're actually going to send another unit of spears out to the other flank. And let the troops start marching. We'll go ahead and fast forward this bit. It looks like they are linking up their forces and taking the high ground. That is sensible, but I think in the end it will prove fruitless. Alright, let's go ahead and continue getting a little bit more organized here. Move the cavalry. Alright, let's go ahead and do some scouting with the cavalry. It's possible that we could actually catch some of these heavy melee infantry. I'm a little bit confused why this unit is not moving. Alright, our troops are relatively light. Let's get everyone in formation and then we will start moving together. Yeah, it's very bizarre to me that these heavy melee infantry have chosen to just sit still. Let's maybe go harass them with the cavalry a little bit. Alright, now I like having really dense formations because it kind of forces the AI to charge straight into you, which is the kind of engagement I want in this fight. So I'm going to keep doing a little bit of reorganizing of my troops, pulling the formation in a little bit tighter. Let's move these horsemen over and try and hit this unit in their right flank. We'll see if they start moving, and they have finally started marching. We don't want to charge into them, we just want to stay nearby. Throw some javelins where we can. Try and stay mobile for their incoming javelin volley. It's going to do a decent amount of damage, but it is what it is. The rest of the main line can continue moving forward.
Scout riders!
I don't think we could break this unit by bringing our generals over and just cav charging it. So, even though it's isolated, I don't think we could break it fast enough, and they could always rush cavalry over. And it seems like now that we are attacking them a little bit, they have decided to come down off the hill, so let's just form ranks. And here comes the cavalry, let's retreat. Fall back to our spear units.
Our hidden units have been discovered.
They have a very large cavalry contingent on the right flank. Let's pivot to face that. I guess, in all fairness, they have a very large cavalry contingent on both flanks. We will allow the missile units to fire at will for the time being, and let the spears prepare for their engagement.
Our hidden units have been discovered.
On the right flank, their cavalry looks like it might go for a charge here against our spear units. They haven't quite committed yet.
We have discovered the enemy's hidden units.
Warriors ready!
Okay, let's go try and pin down some of their cavalry and get the spears involved.
Elite cavalry!
On the right flank,
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
they are content to sit back and skirmish. The front line is engaging.
Chosen sword!
Ready to ride! My spears are yours!
Time to send the
One of our
spears
units has used all
forward.
its ammunition.
Oh man, it's hard to see.
Spears! Warriors ready! Horsemen!
Okay, we're gonna take the charge here, but we've got 2 units of spears coming in to help out.
Spears!
3 units of spears coming in to help
One of our
out.
units has used all its ammunition.
Alright, how are things looking on this flank? Not particularly good. We have managed to rout one of their units already. Let's start the second ranks moving forward. General probably needs to get involved on the right-hand side. As long as we keep spears involved in the cavalry fight, we should be okay. You guys quit chasing. General needs to get a charge here. Pull the ambushers out to the flank. General, inspire yourself, because you're going to be fighting 2-on-1 for a little bit there. Alright, we need to make sure our missiles are focusing on missile units now.
One of our units has used all
There's a
its
giant
ammunition.
cluster out here of cavalry and infantry engaging each other. Let's move these ambushers forward and let them use their javelins. We have another couple of units of spears out here. Okay, we are starting to win the cavalry engagement, which is a much needed, I want to say like turn of events, but it's not really a turn of events. We definitely need some reinforcements on this position. They're starting to cut through us.
Hidden units.
Our secondary general needs to go get involved soon. I can hardly see what's going on, but it looks like we are starting to cut through them on the right side as well. We are attempting to just use completely overwhelming numbers to deal with their cavalry.
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
Okay, we'll send our light cavalry after their skirmish cav to start chasing them down, and then the infantry can start moving back to the main line. Start sending in reinforcements. Oh, I forgot to put my units on guard mode. That's an error. Alright, so you lot pull back. Ambushers start working around the right flank. You guys go get involved. Looks like we probably took a charge there. Okay, we need to get some reinforcements out for our general. Yeah, because he just took a charge. I wasn't microing that at all. Our light cav is starting to get overwhelmed. Okay, our general should be okay now that he's got reinforcements. Go ahead and send the ambushers in. Alright, well, it's a giant mess, but it's a mess we're winning. Somewhat. Our axemen are holding well on the front line. Our right flank is starting to crumble a little bit. Pull the cavalry out of the way a little bit. Keep clicking on my own units when I'm giving out these attack orders. The general just took another charge, I think. Oh, yeah, he definitely took a charge there. That's really bad, actually. Try and retreat with the general so that he can hopefully survive. We just start trying to get the ambushers out on the flanks. Alright, did the general make it out of that engagement? It looks like he did. We'll try and send him back in now. Our other general is struggling to win his engagement for some reason. Enemy general is dead, so their troops that are not disciplined will start to take huge morale penalties now.
warriors!
Alright, we're starting to win on the right flank. We managed to rout that cavalry. We need to keep our general kind of hidden at this point. Okay, we have 2 units of ambushers that can deal with this little incoming force. We can send the light skirmish cav to run down some of their troops. Get the general into the center to help out with morale. Start moving our troops around the flank of the center. Alright, so we've made some good progress in each flank, but our center has actually folded. We're not getting charge bonuses because the micro is a little bit too intense for me, but that's
Our
okay.
hidden units have been discovered.
Battle ready! Access! Warriors, move out! Run, curse you! Equo! Fight or I'll kill you!
Did I mean to send my general in there? I feel like I'm
Ready!
not really sure if I meant to do that.
Spears!
Keep sending units out and around the flanks to pin them down.
The battle is turning in our favor.
Warriors!
It really would have helped if I had turned off the foliage for this battle. Have our missile units start hitting their general.
They will bleed for us! Britons! Heavy horsemen!
And we should see their army start to collapse. Alright, so we took enormous casualties in that fight.
Fighters ready!
Substantially more casualties than I would ever like to see in an engagement.
Sons of Britain warriors, ready!
But, with the exception of a few units of axemen, our
One of our
armies are
units
both
has used all
still
its ammunition.
relatively healthy.
Sons of the noble horse! Spears!
We'll obviously continue and run them down. Alright, well, I didn't give as much commentary or the same kind of commentary as I feel like I normally give, but that's because I
The enemy
was
general is
a
dead.
bit frantically trying to micromanage without just using the pause button the whole time. I'm trying to get better at micromanagement. It's not really working, but I'm trying. So that was absolutely chaotic. Let's see if we can find any more retreating units. There's a few. Yeah, we're still
hidden
trying to run
units have
down
been
what we
discovered.
can, but that's probably about as much damage as we will get to do to their army. We'll just let this play out for a little bit longer. Anyway, like I was saying, I'm trying to get a little bit better at micromanaging battles. Just these 40-unit battles get absolutely crazy. And when you're not just putting out a pike line or a hoplite line and letting the enemy run into you, it gets even more difficult for me. So, anyway, it went well. Our commanders did well. I wish I had not been so careless with this general. The cav charge he took was devastating, but fortunately we had a unit of spears nearby to support him and protect his retreat. And we come out victorious. Alright, in a battle of 16,000 men, we have emerged victorious. Our cavalry forces are heavily depleted, as well as our axemen, but we have defeated the Iceni and sent them packing in a fairly devastating manner. We'll go ahead and ransom the captives just because we need the money. This army dies because it has nowhere to retreat to. And we have the movement to pursue them. What I'm going to do is send this army to pursue. Just auto-resolve that. And that's another army of the Iceni wiped out completely. We can merge some of our units. Hopefully there's mercenary cavalry available to replace our casualties. The Woad warriors are heavily battered. We will have to let some of these units merge, and we'll start recruiting some replacement, starting with the Britannic Swordmasters, but for now we'll pull them back within range to reinforce the settlement while they recruit, and then we will send our reserve army, the Hordes of Camulos, forward in preparation for attacking the Iceni in the open field. They still have 2 full armies and a healthy garrison, so there is a lot of enemy force to deal with, but we have dealt them a severe blow. And that will wrap it up for today's episode. As always, I hope you guys enjoy. If you do, press the like button, go ahead and subscribe if you want to see more, and we will catch you in the next one.